Do partners need to share the same values? That is a question that has echoed through the ages. It is asked in hushed conversations, whispered among friends over coffee. It is debated in living rooms, in counseling offices, in the quiet moments just before sleep. And yet, despite how common this question is, the answers are never simple. Because at the heart of it, this question is not just about values. It is about connection. It is about trust. It is about building a life with someone whose heartbeat you want to align with your own. Let's start by thinking about what values really are. Values are the invisible compass within us. They guide our decisions, shape our priorities, and color the way we see the world. They are not just beliefs we hold, they are the lens through which we interpret life. When someone tells you they value honesty, or loyalty, or freedom, they are telling you something deep about how they navigate the world. So when it comes to marriage, the question is this: can two people navigate the same world together if their compasses point in different directions? Can a life be built on love alone, when the way you define what matters, what is right, what is essential, is not fully aligned? The truth is, some differences in values can be bridges. They can challenge us to grow. They can bring new perspectives, expand our understanding, and deepen our empathy. A partner who values adventure might push you out of your comfort zone, teaching you that there is joy in the unknown. A partner who treasures family might remind you that roots matter, that the people who love you are your anchors. Differences in values can be opportunities to evolve together, to learn, to compromise, to see the world in ways you could not have alone. But there is another side to this coin. When core values that are non-negotiable, clash, the road becomes rocky. Values are not opinions. They are not preferences. They are often woven into the very fabric of who we are. A person who values integrity above all will struggle to live with someone who prioritizes convenience over truth. A person who places faith at the center of life may find it impossible to align with someone who rejects the spiritual dimension altogether. These are not differences that can be easily smoothed over. They are the bedrock upon which we build our choices, our commitments, and ultimately, our marriages. Marriage, at its heart, is a negotiation of values. It is a promise to stand together, even when the world pushes you apart. It is a shared journey toward a life that reflects the best of both partners. But that journey cannot begin unless there is some alignment, some resonance, at the level of the fundamental beliefs that guide your life. Without that, love may burn brightly at first, but eventually, the friction of incompatible values will wear it down. Consider this: what happens when values diverge in small but critical ways? Money, for instance. If one partner values financial security above all else, and the other values freedom and experience over stability, tension will rise. If one partner treasures honesty in every interaction, while the other treats truth as negotiable depending on circumstance, trust erodes. Values are not just abstract concepts, they are practical forces that shape day-to-day life, the decisions big and small that accumulate over time. And yet, alignment does not mean perfection. Marriage is not about finding a clone of yourself. It is about finding a person whose values resonate with your own in a way that allows growth, understanding, and mutual respect. It is about shared vision, not identical vision. You may not agree on everything. You may not value leisure time or work ethic in exactly the same way. But if your core principles, love, loyalty, trust, respect, are aligned, those differences can be navigated. Those differences can even strengthen the bond, if approached with intention, patience, and humility. Here is the subtle truth that many overlook: sharing values does not guarantee a perfect marriage. It does not eliminate conflict, or prevent heartbreak, or promise eternal harmony. Values alignment is a foundation, not a ceiling. It gives you a common language, a shared lens through which you can face challenges. But the building of a marriage, its joy, its resilience, its intimacy, requires more than just alignment. It requires empathy. It requires communication. It requires the willingness to understand your partner deeply, even when their choices or preferences are not what you would choose. And here is another truth: even when partners share the same values, life will test them. Circumstances change. Priorities shift. Stress emerges. Children arrive. Careers evolve. Health falters. External pressures challenge the very principles you thought were unshakable. In those moments, shared values become a lifeline. They are the compass you return to when the storm rages. They remind you why you are together. They anchor you in a shared understanding of what matters most. But what about those who do not fully align? What about those who love deeply, but whose values sometimes conflict? There is hope here too. There is a way forward, if both partners are willing to see differences not as barriers but as invitations to dialogue. Differences in values require honesty, patience, and sometimes sacrifice. They require a willingness to negotiate boundaries, to respect limits, to accept that not every battle needs to be won. And they require courage, the courage to be vulnerable, to reveal your true self, and to trust that your partner will meet you there with the same authenticity. At the end of the day, marriage is not about perfection. It is not about finding a partner who mirrors every aspect of yourself. It is about finding a partner whose values are compatible enough that love can grow, thrive, and withstand the inevitable trials of life. It is about building a life where your shared principles create a foundation strong enough to support both your dreams and your differences. Now, imagine a marriage where the core values are aligned. Imagine two people who both value honesty, empathy, and respect. Imagine them facing disagreements not as threats, but as opportunities to grow. Imagine them building a life that reflects not just the sum of their individual values, but something greater, their shared vision, their mutual commitment, their joint legacy. That is not a fairy tale. That is the real power of shared values. That is the quiet force that sustains marriages over decades. That is why this question matters so deeply, because values are not just ideas. They are the air a marriage breathes. Without them, love suffocates. With them, love flourishes. And yet, the most poignant lesson is this: whether values are aligned perfectly, partially, or imperfectly, marriage demands presence. Marriage demands courage. Marriage demands choice. Every day, every hour, every decision, marriage is the ongoing act of choosing to honor your partner, to honor yourself, and to honor the life you are building together. Alignment of values makes that choice easier, but the choice itself is what transforms love from fleeting emotion into lasting commitment. So if you are asking yourself this question, if you are standing at a crossroads, wondering if your differences are too great, listen closely. Ask yourself not just whether your values align, but whether you can navigate the differences with grace. Ask yourself if you can hold your partner's hand through the storms, even when the compass points in slightly different directions. Ask yourself if the love you share is strong enough to embrace both harmony and tension, both resonance and contrast. Because the truth is, marriage is not about perfection. It is about resilience. It is about the willingness to keep walking together, even when the path is unclear. And finally, remember this: the question is not whether partners must share the same values, but whether they can share the same purpose. Can you both commit to building a life together? Can you both choose each other, every single day, with patience, understanding, and respect? Can you both see that even when values differ, love can guide the way? That is the essence of a lasting marriage. That is the answer to the question, more profound than any theory or checklist. Love is the bridge. Respect is the bridge. Shared purpose is the bridge. And when those bridges are strong, nothing else, not even differences in values, can break the connection you have built. So if you are married, or about to be, or simply dreaming of love, take a moment to reflect. Take a moment to honor the values that guide your life. Take a moment to honor the values of your partner. Notice where they align. Notice where they diverge. And then ask yourself this: are you willing to walk the journey together, with patience, empathy, and courage? Because that is the true measure of love. That is the quiet power of marriage. That is what makes a shared life not just possible, but extraordinary. Life is short. Love is fragile. Values are powerful. But the human heart, resilient, daring, and endlessly capable, has the ability to navigate the vast terrain of differences, to build bridges where there were gaps, and to create a marriage that is not just about two people, but about something larger than themselves. Something enduring. Something meaningful. Something profoundly transformative. And when you stand together, side by side, heart to heart, with your values aligned enough to guide you and your love strong enough to sustain you, you will know this: the question of shared values is not about finding perfection. It is about choosing each other. Choosing each other again and again. Choosing a shared life that is richer, deeper, and more resilient because of, not despite, the values you hold. Because in the end, love is not just what you feel. Love is what you do. Love is the courage to honor yourself and your partner. Love is the decision to navigate life together. And love is the understanding that when two people commit to each other with honesty, respect, and purpose, no difference, no matter how significant, can eclipse the light you create together. So walk forward with intention. Speak your truth. Listen deeply. Cherish the values that guide you. Celebrate the values that guide your partner. And build a life that honors both. That is not just a marriage. That is a masterpiece. And always remember, shared values are not a guarantee, but they are a compass. And love, intention, and commitment are the map. Together, they create a journey worth taking, a journey that transforms two lives into one story, one legacy, one extraordinary life shared. Because when values and love converge, when hearts and principles align just enough to navigate the world together, there is nothing ordinary about it. There is only the profound beauty of two souls daring to choose each other every day. And that is worth everything.